I'm Ruchira Hujkol. I'm one of the co-founders of AstroCapsule. And in today's session, I'll be giving you a short but a brief overview. And then after the overview, we'll be officially launching the website for the Lonar Analogue Expedition Program 2022. So, Lonar Analogue Expedition Program 2022. Let's come together and accelerate the space revolution. So, you all must be thinking, where is Lonar Crater? And first of all, why is Lonar Crater, right? So the first question, where is Lonar Crater? Lonar Crater is in the state of Maharashtra in the country India. Now, why did we choose Lonar and not any other site all over India? Right? That must be the first question that you guys are thinking of. So we chose Lonar because Lonar was formed by an asteroid impact, and it has many geological and geomorphological features that are familiar or analogous to the ancient Martian conditions. So that is one of the peculiar reasons why we chose Lonar. It also has the attraction for geologists as Lonar is the ejecta blanket, as in when the asteroid impacted and the crater was created, a lot of material flowed out of that crater, and it had the composition of both the earth minerals as well as the asteroid of which it was made of. So studying the ejecta blanket is another major attraction for choosing the Lonar crater. Now, as we know where and why, now let's understand why particularly have we chosen Lonar Crater for the Lonar Analog Expedition program. There are three major peculiar reasons. First is, as I said, that it has various geological and geomorphological features which are similar to the ancient Martian conditions. So studying Lonar Crater, doing scientific experimentation and expedition will help us build a better understanding of what conditions there could have been on the ancient Martian surface. So what is it an analog for, right? The question is. So Lonar Crater is an analog for a crater on Mars, which we all are very much aware of, and it is none other than the Jezerus crater, the crater in which the Perseverance rover is currently working. So Lonar is an analog for the Jezerus crater. Second, it is easy in terms of logistics, as in if you want to carry out an entire expedition program around Lonar Crater or say any location, you need to make sure that your crew can safely move in and move out of the location and also peacefully perform the scientific experimentation. So it is easy in terms of logistics. And despite of being easy in terms of logistics, the another very important advantage is that it is isolated from the rural population around it. So you won't be interrupted by any locals or any other thing while you're performing the entire expedition. You will be completely isolated from the population, so these three are the key important things, that reasons that we chose Lonar as a site for an analog expedition. Now, what are the objectives of this entire Lonar Analog Expedition program? The very first is we want to popularize the concept of analog missions in India, and also want to give a platform for Indian students to experience something similar or analogous to performing an actual space mission. Once we give this platform, we want to engage students in doing the research and actually looking for good results so that they can work on it and keep contributing to the scientific community. Also, as we are very aware that this entire year has been about space and sustainability. We recently celebrated World Space Week. That was again on the theme of space and sustainability. So we would also like to highlight the integration or the importance of space and sustainability. And so we are also trying to incorporate some United Nations Sustainable Development Goals throughout the Lonar Expedition program. And the very last and the most important is that we want to bring people together collectively and protect this Lonar crater, because this is precious in terms of scientific research and contributing to planetary sciences. So we want its legacy or its heritage to be protected and to preserve the entire site. So these are the objectives of the Lonar Expedition program. Now, let's talk about the expedition program itself. So it's a low fidelity mission. Whenever you go for an analog mission or an expedition program, it is in the three categories, that is low, medium, and high. So this is going to be a low fidelity mission. The duration is that actually the entire crew will be present on the site, that is Lonar Crater, for 5 days, starting from 7th to 11th of December 2022. And who are the targeted audience, or who are the people that we want to come and join this program. So we want high school students and also first year and second year undergraduate students from any field who are interested in doing analog space mission can hop in for the Analogue Expedition program. Also, people who do not have any background as such in space but are very enthusiastic or passionate about learning about various aspects of the space industry itself, this can be a starting point for your journey. So we very much welcome space enthusiasts as well to join the Lonar Expedition program. Now, throughout the program, what are we going to do? What all subjects will be the crew exposed to? Should be your next question. So now I'll give you an overview of all the subjects because the subjects are important because all the experiments or the research that is going to be done throughout the Lonar Expedition program will be surrounding through these subjects only. So the very first is geology. As I said in the very first slide, that it has various geological features to the ancient Mars. So doing geological research and experimentation, you will be exposed to the field of geology. Then, as I said, there is this Lonar Lake. Now, the lake is highly saline. So we have to look for habitability conditions for microorganisms that can thrive in such extreme environments. So we'll be highlighting and doing research on the concept of habitability conditions. Then engineering, of course. Whatever you want to put into space, you require engineering for it. So there are various aspects that we'll be doing research on, which actually will encourage you to put the principles of learn, create, and build into practice. Then another topics that or the subjects that we'll be going through are astrophysics. Now, why astrophysics? Because this is an impact crater created by an asteroid impact. So we'll be doing the study of what type of asteroid it was, what composition it was made of, how it impacted, and what all changes were found in the surroundings, so on and so forth. There is another study that is anthropology. Now, the word itself says to study human activities or the impact created by human activities. So we'll be studying mildly the alterations or the changes that the human presence in that particular site has brought about. So we'll be also doing some anthropological studies, and then we'll be also testing an hypothesis. I wouldn't give you much details right now, but it also involves astrochemistry because we'll be again going through various chemical compositions while trying to prove this hypothesis. So just a slight idea, there is not one crater, there are actually two. So the hypothesis revolves around those two craters, and the research or the hypothesis to prove the point will be you have to do some astrochemical stuff in order to prove the hypothesis. So these are all the subjects, prior or important subjects that will help you build the understanding as well as perform the research throughout the Analogue Expedition program. Now, as we are familiar with the subjects, the next question that comes in is, what are activities, right? What actually we are going to do throughout the expedition program? So if we take in consideration, the activities can be divided broadly into three categories. First is the EVA, that is the extravehicular activity. Now, whenever you do a mission, a amount of like say 2 to 3 members from your crew have to go out of the habitat and perform certain experimentations, right? So that is called as extravehicular activity or the EVA. So of course, in this Lonar expedition, we'll be performing a number of EVAs, and you'll see later on in the slides like how every one of you will get an equal chance to perform the EVA. The second is intravehicular activities. That is, once the crew is out for performing the extravehicular activity, the base or the habitat in which you're going to stay, someone needs to keep it, right? So a group of crew will be here back on the base and will manage all the activities till the EVA group is back. So there are again a number of activities included under the intravehicular activities. And most important is outreach. We will try to generate as much as possible outreach material so that the people who are doing this Lonar expedition also have a responsibility sense that what we are doing needs to reach out to people so that it inspires them for doing another such extraordinary programs. So we'll be also doing a number of outreach activities too. I'm not actually giving a brief about EVA, IV, or the outreach activities is because we will provide you with the detailed brochure later on. Now, most important question, as this is going to be a paid program, are there any scholarships available, right? So, partially, yes, there are scholarships available, but the scholarships are available for the tribal students. Now, you guys must be thinking about how and why tribal students. So, our partner organization, AstronEra, is working on a project called Astro Tribe, wherein they are training tribal students to learn more about the field of astronomy and trying to make them financially stable based on the knowledge of their astronomy. So from the selected students from the side of that AstronEra organization, we will be giving 2 scholarships to the tribal students so that they can come in and attend this entire program free of cost. Of course, they'll have some tasks, extra tasks to perform, but they won't have to pay any money for this particular program. So the scholarships are available, but they are only there for the Astro Tribal students. Now we talked about activities, subjects, scholarships. Now, as I said, we also want to highlight the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that we are going to target. Let's see what those are. So there are about 5 goals, I would say, to summarize that we are hoping to target throughout the Lonar Expedition program. The very first is goal 4, that is quality education, because we are trying to integrate theoretical as well as practical knowledge throughout the Lonar Expedition program, and engaging students as young as high schoolers or even first and second year undergraduates and giving them this hands-on training and exposure actually elevates the level of education that or the level of understanding they will build throughout the Lonar Expedition program. So we are trying to target the goal 4, that is quality education. Then is goal 9, that is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Now, as I said, if you are new to the space sector, or even if you are already in the space sector, doing this program itself will give you a stepping stone to get into the industry. And also throughout the program, you will be doing multiple tasks and challenges, which will help you to create innovative solutions. So we are also hoping to target the goal 9, that is industry and innovation. Goal 10, reduce inequalities. Now, the scholarships that we have kept for astrotribal students are particularly to demonstrate goal 10, that is reduce inequalities. We are trying to give those tribal students same opportunities as you guys have here, so that they can also level up from grassroots level and try to actually build a good, stable career in the field of space and astronomy. Now, goal 13, climate change. This is a bit of an extensive research or study, I would say, because it is a very longer period of research, but we'll be also working on some aspects of climate change throughout the Lunar Analog Expedition program. And lastly, goal 17, that is partnerships for goals. Now, here itself, we have 2 organizations, AstronEra and AstroCapsule, that have come together to give you all this wonderful opportunity, that is the Lunar Analog Expedition program. Similarly, we are looking forward for partnerships or sponsorships from institutes, schools, organizations, or even research labs that can help us to test our samples and various research that we want to carry out. So we are open, and I would, through this presentation or through this particular time, I would like to urge, if there are any organizations, institutes, or even universities that want to join in through the program, they're open to reach out to us. So these are the sustainable goals that we are trying to incorporate in the Lunar Analog Expedition program throughout the program. So now the major questions. Is it paid? Yes. So what are the registration charges? So the registration charges are rupees 20,000 INR per participant, and it is for the early bird discount, which will end on 5th of November 2022. Once you cross 5th of November 2022 and then register, then the charges would go up to 25,000 INR per participant. So if you're interested in the program, I would very much request you to register before 5th of November. Now, you're paying 20,000. So what are you going to get throughout this mission, right? You are eager to know that, like, why I'm spending my money and how I'm spending my money. So within this 20,000, you will be getting on-site expedition of 5 days and 5 days virtual class. In the virtual class, you will actually, before going on the on-site, we want you all to meet the crew. We want the participants to build their theoretical and background knowledge on the subjects that I discussed earlier on. We also want the crew or the participants to get familiar with the experiments that we're actually going to perform on site, because once you're on site, you are going to be an analog astronaut and no one is going to come to help you. So we want the crew to be ready and equipped once we are on the site. And also we have some, team dynamics, roles, and stuff to play out. So during this 5-day virtual class, we'll be doing all these things and getting the crew ready, equipped, and aware of what we're actually going to do throughout the Lonar Analog Expedition program. Once you do the 5 days virtual program, now you're on site for 5 days. So this is roughly what your 5 days are going to look like. A detailed, timely schedule for each of the day will be provided to the registered participants later on. So once we reach on the site on 7th Wednesday, we will be dividing the teams, briefing the program. We'll have interactions with the locals, trying to understand the history of Lonar, and we'll be carrying out some research survey. Then the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, are dedicated to performing all the experiments and the activities that are planned throughout. So every day, the crew or the analog astronauts will be divided into a group of 3, out of which 2 groups will go out to perform the extravehicular activities, and 1 group will remain at the base and take care of the base. So that will be the format for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, what experiments are these 3 groups going to perform? That is again a detailed one, which will be made available to the registered participants itself. And on Sunday, once we have done all the sampling, core collection, all the experimentation and activities, we will be having group presentations of what actually the analog astronaut did, what research they did, what outcomes they got, or what outcomes they were looking for, and if they did not get those outcomes. We'll also have virtual interactions with analog astronauts around the globe, and we will have a report submission and a closing ceremony. In the closing ceremony itself, all the registered and participants who are present on the site will be certified for this particular program for performing and completing the Lonar Analog Expedition. Now, apart from the 5-day virtual class and 5 days on site, we are also going to have open sessions, open for everyone, wherein we are calling, experts from the field of astrobiology, geology, space architecture, physiology, psychology, astronomy, to give you all a better understanding of the subject. So these sessions or panel discussions will be held from the coming next week. So you guys do keep a tab on our social media channels, and they are free of cost. Mostly will be made available through the YouTube. So you can also keep checking, and once you have an understanding, once you attend the panel discussion, maybe you will be more convinced to enroll yourself for the Lonar Analog Expedition program. Now, that was all about the program, a bit about the organizations that have brought you this opportunity. So here, AstronEra and AstroCapsule have come together to bring you this opportunity. So AstronEra particularly deals with, it's a space education and tech company, again, which deals with specifically with astronomy, and they are carrying out the AstroTrite project. You guys can go check their website out. They are also available on the various social media as well. And then again, AstroCapsule, you all know, is a space education and tech best company. We are also available on various social media handles, and you can also go out and check our website. Now, I'm glad and open to take any questions from the live audience. And for those who are listening to the recording later on the YouTube, you guys can simply reach out to the website or reach out to me on the mentioned email ID, which is info@astrocapsule.in.